Once again, hello to all the people of the world, wherever you are, whoever you are. The warmest Baha'i greeting of Allahu Akbar to everyone. I promise I will get into the discussion of the philosophical answers to the scientific problem, but before that I have to answer another big question I've been asked all the time about the justice and control in the universe as far as God and nature concerns. The most important question I've been always asked in Canada, smart questions, and people say that if this nature is created by God, or the nature is in control of God, it doesn't seem so intellectually and logically when you look at it. There are so many problems in the nature, whether it's typhoon or whether it is a storm, or, heavy rain, whether it is AIDS, whether people are born handicapped or blind. When you look at it, nature seems, if it is, they say, in the hand of God, then God is a cruel God. He really doesn't care about us. Or maybe like the movie Terminator, the nature is a computer made by God, now it's rebelling against God and doesn't listen to God and just does what it wants. Or they say that, there is no God and it is all the nature, and nature is cruel and we have to work against it sometimes and work against it and whatnot. The second set of questions is that the same stands for the people. A lot of people are suffering from other people. There are so many transgression, cruelties is going on in the world, has been ever going on. God seems to be not caring again. Because why does he let, if it is a compassionate God, if it is a powerful God, why does he let all these things happen to us? Okay, I just, stop right here. And I say for the answer, first of all, we have to understand how this nature and God works. I think if we know how the system works, then probably we could find the answer ourselves. God is, the religion of God really is more like the global positioning system. It's like a GPS. If you have it installed in your car, I guess you can go wherever you want. If you don't know, if you have this Baha'i faith today, you could ask any questions from it. Right here, actually, very literal, is the website of the Universal Laws of Justice. It's the if you get it, www, I think on the internet, BahaiLibrary.org. In the English part, just print your questions, whatever you have, and you'll find an answer. Religion of God, you could say, is like a highway. If you drive on the highway, you will get to where you have to get without wasting your time, without suffering the circumstances. But people don't want to go on the road, they want to go on their own. Sure, there is a lot of ways to get to some place, but probably the shortest one would be the highway that's made by God towards himself, or towards happiness, the highway to the happiness, I should say. So, and the religion of God, let me say, people, a real Baha'i, as opposed to the other people, is more like a computer. And except that the Baha'i computer is connected to the internet. Huge computer does not have the answers that a small computer could have if it is subscribed to the internet. How much you can get from the internet with a small computer like my computer. But if you're connected to the internet, a real Baha'i is connected to the internet, he can find all the answers for himself and for others. Going to go to the classical answer that Abdul Baha says. He says God is like a sun that manifests himself to a mirror. This mirror being Baha'u'llah today, or Jesus, or other prophets in the past. So, sun is in the mirror. You could say mirror is the sun, but there is a limit in this. God, if it is sun does not come, as Abdul Baha says, completely into the mirror. It just manifests itself. If the sun comes completely into the mirror, never mind the mirror, the whole planet will dissolve and will melt away. So, as long as we're not the mirror, we're like a piece of a stone prefer like a cup, prefer like this, some object. So God cannot, like an intelligent being, God cannot communicate with this stone. You know, even with a flower. So it's all the same material. Computer and a stone is the same material, but the computer is organized in such a way that when it becomes a computer, and the computer, which is a human being in this example, is connected to the internet, that would be a real Baha'i, then he has an email system. God will easily communicate with him. Now, to tell you that, okay, how do we get there practically is very simple. Study the Baha'i faith. If you understood it, don't just become a believer. Don't be a sign-up Baha'i. You sign up and you think that's done. No. Signing up is mean entering at getting admission into the University of Baha'u'llah, but that does not make you a graduate. You have to study and think about it. It's about the comprehension of it. So you have to apply this. The best application of the Baha'i for an individual is immediately get into the teaching. Go share what you have understood to the non-Baha'is. As soon as you do, you get employed in the system of God. You're working at that time for God, for Baha'u'llah, and you will see for yourself what happens. You will grow into a different being. Just like that computer was just a small little computer with a few gigs on it, but this computer will be connected to the internet. Same thing happens, very much similar. So power of God is very limited. On the computer we can go right to the internet of Baha'u'llah and says, hello Baha'u'llah, says, hello my son, my friend, as he calls us, my friends. He can guide you through. He can tell you a lot of things, but he's not capable actually of coming and do it for you. If you tell him I have a problem in a marriage, he says, sure, these are the books, go read it, and these are the technique you have to do in order to overcome. But if you tell him to come and solve the problem for me, he says, no, I cannot do it, you cannot bear it. That is the fact of the matter. You just do not have the capacity for me to come and enter into you. You're too small. It's like, how can a human being goes inside a womb? It's impossible. The soul is out of the womb when he dies. Imagine with God, how can he fit in this limited world? But he can communicate with us. It is God, there's no doubt. Just like the person you see on the internet. He can ask all the questions and find all the true answers, but nevertheless, it does not go more than just giving you the answers. The rest of it is what you have to do. So, I wrote a few paper here for myself to help me to remember everything. So, as for the nature, as I discussed it with you, I already said there is a God. I discussed this with you earlier. Now, whether this God is in the control of this nature or not, he is. I often ask the same questions from him when I'm asking him that you're telling me I'm an elder, I have to go to teach, but nobody's listening to me. He says, Abbas, the idea was not that people, if I want to make people to listen to, I can do it like nothing. That is not what the whole goal is. The goal is for you to grow by doing the job yourself. I've left it undone. I've left it for you to grow. If nature was everything completely in the control of us, and had no problem in the nature, how would we grow? The whole notion of creations, of man in this life, is to grow. Grow means to understand, the thinking power. If we didn't have problem in the nature, in these obstacles, how could we come from cave, down to here? It was because we had this problem. We had to overcome it. And as a result, we have become a thinking, intelligent being. So anything that's in the nature, it might harm us, sure. But at the same time, it helps us to grow and understand. Because there's obstacles. Thanks God they're there. If they're not there, it would be a boring life. Because man is made to think. If man cannot think his way out, he will die. This is what happened to Neanderthal. They didn't understand what is the next step. They died out. Okay? If the civilizations right now on the earth that they don't understand man and women are equal and they can't do something about it, they will get decimated. This kind of pattern is doomed to die. I'm not mentioning now which nation, but you know those nations that they don't recognize this. They have to think their way out. Man is a thinking, intelligent being. So this is really the reason when we look at a lot of things. So there are these are all the obstacles, nothing but a process of training us to think. Thinking is very, very important. That is the notion of living in there. So this thinking power, which ultimately makes us to actually develop out of understanding the five senses. The five senses that Abdul Baha is based on that prime directive that I explained before. This universe is parallel to that one. Abdul Baha says parallel to these five senses. We do have another five senses on the life that we die. The first one is to want, to seek, to have the desire, to have the willpower. If you have no willpower, you're dead. If in this life you can't will yourself out of a smoking habit, when you die you don't have also the will, because part of you hate it and then also you smoke. So we don't know. Your will is a split. When you die, you need surgery. You may die under it. So the willpower have to be increased to begin with. Then, once we have the willpower and the desire, then we imagine the things that we want. The power of want goes with imagination. We imagine many, many things. And then we refine it by thinking. We say, out of all these things we imagine, this particular way is going to get us there. That's thinking. Becomes scientific. When we think, then we get to comprehension of it. We say, how do I get from Toronto to Vancouver? You imagine a lot of ways, but finally you choose one. That becomes thinking. When you get to Vancouver, you see it, you comprehend it. That comprehension becomes a part of your memory, a spiritual memory. Then you're alive. You are what you remember. If you can't remember it, you're not it. So you need your RAM power to increase. If you do not install this operation system of the Baha'u'llah called Baha'i faith in our life, in our soul, in our brain, I'm sorry, we do not have a proper operation system. We're doomed. We cannot understand the happiness or anything what I'm saying. Now the second answer, of course, is to what these people are doing to each other. You heard of it. There was a lot of it. So again, your God. Imagine your gods. So you have a child. There's a couple of children you have. They're very naughty. They do all kind of things. You have a couple of options. One of them is take the